player. And not surprisingly, LeBron was the most disliked baller in 24 states, as well as the most hated overall. Kyrie Irving came in second, with 18 states disapproving of the Nets point guard, followed by his Brooklyn teammates, James Harden and Kevin Durant, with 3 states each. So Chris Broussard is still with us. And before we jump into this, my parents never let me say I hated anyone growing up. I could only say I strongly disliked them. So Chris, I don't know if I like this. How do you explain it?
I think it's simple. LeBron James stands for something. And you guys know on this show, when you stand boldly and unashamedly for something, you're going to have people that love you and you're going to have people that hate you. And LeBron stands up. The first thing he stands up for is against racial and social injustice. You can argue that LeBron is the player that started this whole movement across these various sports leagues of players standing up against injustice. It was back in, 2012, 2013, when he and the Miami Heat did the hoodie photo about Trayvon Martin and his death. And so that was before, several years. Yeah, that was years before Kaepernick, Colin Kaepernick started kneeling during the national anthem. So that's something that a lot of people don't like. And LeBron's obviously been outspoken against racial and social injustice. He did the More Than a Vote campaign, which had an impact on the most polarizing election maybe in our lifetimes. And so for all of those reasons, there are a lot of people that dislike LeBron James. If you I looked at the map with the story of, where the people hated LeBron the most, and they were pretty much all the red states. It was those states. It was the middle of the country, the upper, the northern Midwest, Montana, Nebraska, the Dakotas, places like that, where they aren't feeling LeBron James. So that's number one. Number two, he stands for player empowerment. When LeBron had the audacity to say, I, as a player, can put together a team better than my front office. They can't get me nobody. I'm going to go ahead and build a championship team myself. Bird went to a championship team. Magic went to a championship team. I'm going to have to build one myself. And he did it when most of the country was hating on him because of it. That was polarized. And a lot of people don't like that. He started this trend, which is now commonplace, of players putting their teams together. I honestly do not believe the thought of even crosses Kevin Durant's mind to go to Golden State if LeBron had not gone to Miami. I don't think Anthony Davis, a year and a half before his contract ends, thinks about going to the Lakers, except for LeBron had done this. I don't think the big three in Brooklyn would be together. Like Harden wouldn't have done what he did had not LeBron started it. So LeBron showed the players the power that they actually have. And it's even trickling into the other leagues, as we see, with the NFL, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, things like that. So that's the second thing. Thirdly, I think the Michael Jordan GOAT comparisons is another reason people hate on LeBron. Because you guys know this, when you're out, it amazes me now. Everybody's got a take, right? When you see fans now, they got a take. They coming at you hard with a take, and I credit you, Skip, and Stephen A. for starting this. But now fans don't want to just chat. They got a take for you. And so it's like the feeling is if you think Michael Jordan's the GOAT, then you're automatically a LeBron hater. And if you think LeBron's the GOAT, then you're automatically a Jordan hater, which obviously isn't true, but that's how people look at it. So I think a lot of people that are in Jordan's corner hate on LeBron just because they feel like, well, that's how it has to be. And so those are the reasons I think LeBron is the most hated NBA player.
I agree with everything you just said, and I spoke a lot of that with Skip, and I touched on this earlier, because LeBron stands for something. Kyrie's number two. What does Kyrie do? Stand for something. And anytime you stand for something, you're going to alienate a certain base. Why do you think Michael Jordan never took a stand? He knew what was going to happen. He earned it, and Skip believe he's like, I believe he said it in jest. He was just talking amongst the boys. No. Republican buy sneakers also. He knows if I take a stand one way or another, the people that I'm taking a stand against, they're going to be ticked off at me. They're not going to like what I'm taking a stand against. So just to keep the peace, I'll let you speculate whether I'm against or for this, but I don't say it one way or another, and you'll keep on, spending, buying my products, Skip. I firmly believe that had a lot to do with it. And the fact, like you said, Chris, he stood for something. These social issues, the Trayvon Martin, I Can't Breathe T-shirts, he was taking stance before it was really popular, and he took some blowback for it. But he says, you know what? At some point in time, I don't make enough money to keep my mouth shut when I see things that are going wrong. And even though, yes, I'm in Brentwood, but I still see people in my community, I still see them suffering for the longest time. They thought that if you give a black athlete or make them prominent, put them in the pearly gates or the ivory towers, they would not even care about what was transpiring. But that time has changed now. You're seeing more and more guys starting to speak out, Chris and Skip. You see that happening. Even the WNBA, they're like, nah, what's going on here isn't right. So for me, and I also said this was the GOAT conversation, Skip, in this situation, it's kind of like politics now. Ain't no more straddling the fence. Well, Skip, it used to be, well, I like them both. Ain't no liking them both now, Chris. You either Jordan camp or you LeBron camp. It ain't no in between. It used to be, well, I can see, I like a little bit of this from that one. I like a little bit of that. No. Who you with? You the Dems or you the Republicans? It ain't no in between, Skip. So I believe that has a lot to do with it, but I'm not surprised by this. I don't think you're surprised by it either, Chris, but I'm not surprised. When I was like, I already knew. I said, yeah, I didn't need a poll to tell me because I see, when I interact with people and I read my comments, I see what's being said. I was like, okay, I see where this is heading.
Okay, so if you guys are right that this is by and large race-based, then you got me. I don't see and feel that the way you two do. But I live in a little different world than you two live in. Because in the world I have lived in for all the years LeBron has played, the white people I know, the people I'm around fairly consistently, they love them some LeBron. But maybe I don't know the right people. Obviously, are there a lot of white people in this country who hate black people? You better believe there are. We're trying to eradicate that. We're trying to at least soften that. And I think we've made some strides there. But it's hard for me to characterize this whole poll as just strictly race-based. And both of you went to that as your number one reason, that because LeBron has taken stands for racial justice, that a lot of white people, that's what you're saying, right? White people are saying no to LeBron. We hate you because you're taking these stands.
Well, I think we laid out three, but yes, I believe that's the number one thing, Skip. Right. You might not know, a lot of people like you until they find out what you actually stand for. And then they're like, hold on, wait, no, I can't get with that. Because remember, in the movie, we always go back to Do the Right Thing. Pino, he loved Michael Jordan. He loved Prince. Okay. But everything out of his mouth was the N-word.
Okay, I got it. Yet, to me, in my experience, and I'm going to be completely generalizing here, to me, LeBron is the most beloved black athlete by the majority of the white community ever. Because what's to hate about him? I promise school. The mere fact that he has the courage to take stands, whether the white people believe in the stand or not, it's just admirable how outspoken he's been for the causes he believes in. And Chris is exactly right. He's the trailblazer, man. He broke through. I'm not sure. Remember, he was on the free agent part. He was free.
He was free. Yeah.
Okay, so again, I'm not sure he's the one that encouraged. Well, I mean, he absolutely, individually wanted Anthony to come join him.
Right.
But now they've taken it to the level of, I know I got 3 years left on my deal, but I want out.
Right.
So let me go.
Right.
And James forced his way out to Brooklyn, obviously.
Right.
But in the end, I'll just throw out an example, and you can say this is a very small sample size, but I'm a member of a golf club in Brentwood, not far from, I'm not sure LeBron even lives there anymore. Hasn't he moved from there? I'm not even sure.
No, he got another place.
They got several places, but it's like 2 blocks up the street from my golf club is where LeBron originally moved to when they first came to L.A. And obviously, the members of the club, they all wanted LeBron to come in and ask that, could you maybe, and I actually used Chris a little bit to try to get something to LeBron. If you want to come join the club, well, does LeBron want to be a member of a club I'm at? No, probably not.
LeBron doesn't play golf.
Okay, well, he doesn't, and that would be number one because it's mostly a golf club.
Right.
But the point is, I know a whole bunch of members there, and they love LeBron. Now, they are L.A. Democrats, so maybe that's different fandom, right?
Yes.
But trust me, I'm like the only one who's even objective about LeBron at the whole club that I'm aware of. So my point is, you guys are seeing it through a different lens than I'm seeing it through on hate. That's just, as Jenny said, I hate the word hate. I get to more, a lot of people think LeBron's overrated or he's a front-running showboater or a gloater or a bragger on Instagram or Twitter where they just get sick and tired of him. There's some LeBron fatigue because he played in the 8 straight finals in the East, and he's been in 10 of the last 14 finals, not including this year, of course. And maybe there's some burnout, like people just get sick and tired of LeBron. I do think a lot of people think he's just overrated for many reasons because he's not much of a shooter. I don't think he's a clutch player. You guys do think he is, but we can go on and on about that. I think that all plays into the quote-unquote I hate LeBron camp.
Chris, go with me here.
No, I agree, Skip. I don't think it's, and I think Shannon and I were saying the same thing. We don't think it's all racial.
No.
Because there are a lot of black people that hate on LeBron as well. You know, we